Hey guys, I just wanted to talk to you guys about why isn't iPhone 8 and iPhone X not supporting iOS 17? Well, as you can see from the Apple event, which featured the iOS 17 features, they will not be getting it. There are some reasons why iPhone 8 and iPhone X will not be getting it. Number one, it could be because of the A11 Bionic chip. You see, these phones can live up to the iOS for 4 or 5 years. Once it reaches 5 or 6 years, then they will not support the iOS anymore. Although yes, iOS 16 is still supported on iPhone 8 and iPhone X, they will not be supporting the next generation for the iPhones. So if you have an iPhone XR till iPhone 11, you will have less features than the iPhone 12 or newer. These features on iOS may not be available on some of the phones. And name drop is also available as well. This is one of the features that is going to be featured on iOS 17. So I'm just going to say this. Okay, so iOS 17, it's still in beta. It's actually an operating system for the iPhone. This is actually the successor to iOS 16, which was released last year. This has actually been the beta that was actually released recently. It was actually going to be released on September of this year when the iPhone 15 models come out. This will be the first version to support an iPhones, which are iPhone XR to the 14. But don't forget, the 15 will actually be available soon. Okay, so this will actually be the first version to drop an iPhone with Face ID, which is iPhone X. So it actually was released on November 3rd of 2017. It was renamed as the X to mark the 10th anniversary of this phone. The iPhone 8 and 8 Plus were also dropped out of this iOS. Because of the A11 Bionic chips, this has been the third time Apple had dropped support for the 64-bit devices. For those devices with the A12 Bionic chip and A13 Bionic chip, they have limited support. But if you get the iPhone 12 or newer, they are fully supported with all of these. Okay? iOS 17 actually includes the new app called Journal. This is ended to encrypted journaling app, which can make users log into daily activities. They also have name drop as well. And as for Memoji and the pictures for your contact picture, you can also customize it with the name's font and color. For the incoming call, you can have the live voicemail buttons. The AirDrop actually continues over the internet by tapping the iPhone or Apple Watch against another. They will have a new feature called Name Drop. In the Messages app, you can create your own stickers as well. And you can also use a transcript for the voices message. This can also be used when you remove the background too. Can be used as stickers or stamped for messages in bubbles as well. So actually, I was going to say that iPhone 8 is actually 6 years old. So it actually released on September 22nd, 2017. So it's actually like 2 months before it turns 6, and it's no longer supported on iOS. And basically, this will actually be the last phone to have the 64 gigs. They basically ship with iOS 17 up to iOS 16. They do not support iOS 17 due to security updates. This is the first time that they actually discontinued their model since 2019, which is 256 gigs. Now, I'm not really surprised on why iOS 17 had to discontinue these phones. I'm not really upset or angry with it, but I think if you have an iPhone 8 or 8 Plus, you're still able to use iOS 16, but you will not have these features on iOS 17. Okay, another thing is I want to type is this. iOS 17 features which are not available on older phones. So the features won't be at launch is the new Journal app. The new Journal app will only be available on the new phones as well. As well as this, you could AirPlay the TV into your hotel rooms as well. So iOS 17 is actually not out yet, but some of the features won't be available to it, okay? Now there's actually some compatible phones which shall not get the iOS. So basically on the software update for this year's event, it will not be available for some phones who are currently supported on iOS 16. Although yes, it wasn't like a bad year for iOS 17. However, 3 of the phones were dropped out from the support. So for features on iOS 17, for iPhone XR, XS, XX Max, 11, and the SE second generation will not get it. For those phones with iPhone 13, iPhone 12, iPhone SE third generation, and the 14 models will also get it as well. iPhone XR will actually work on iOS 17. These models will be launched a year later, and I would just say that this could be the last iOS to support iPhone XR to the second generation of the iPhone. I would just say that these phones will turn 5 years old, and some of them will turn 4. I'll just say they do have limited support, but unfortunately, they wouldn't get the next iOS 18 update. I'm just saying, I'm not 100% sure. I could be wrong, okay? If your device is like almost 12 years old, then maybe, yeah, you will get a device which says iOS 12 or lower. Okay, for the next year, iPhone XR, XX, and X will actually be not getting this iOS app, like the iOS 18 update. It was actually known for the remaining non-numbered releases. So it's time to say that the iPhone X series will actually not be supporting iOS 18. iPhone 11 and onwards will actually be supporting iOS 18, including iPhone 16. So actually, features which are not available on the iOS 17. Okay. I'll just say that some features won't be available is because one, they do have limited support. Alright? I just wanted to say yes, they do have limited support. So eventually you may be wondering about this, okay? I actually watched the event on that as well, Okay. So for FaceTime, eventually, you will only get one app, which you slide down to the control center. You will only get one app, which is personal. But if you're on iPhone 12 or newer, then you have 3 icons to choose from for FaceTime. As well as this, accessibility will also be limited with the LiDAR sensor for the Pro Max phones only. So if you have a non-Pro phones, then you will not be able to use it. Okay. So for personal voices, they are available if you have the A14 chip and above, right? So for standby mode, if you have the always on display screen, it will be able to show you the time, but if you don't have it, then you're probably going to not use it. So eventually, guys, please be careful when you're choosing a phone. Look, I know it can be hard for you guys to not choose a phone when you're having the latest iOS update, and probably you want to get iOS 17, which has featured devices as well. All right, because I know some features will not be available right here, and we're really sad that the iPhone 8, 8 Plus, and iPhone X will be out from the list. Unfortunately, yes, it will be out from the list. Now, I also wanted to continue talking about what phones can be discontinued if the iPhone 15 series was released. Okay, yes, I know the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max will get discontinued. Same thing with the 13 Pro and Pro Max. iPhone will also discontinue the 12 series as well. iPhone 12 will also get discontinued as well. The 13 mini will also be discontinued, which is actually the last phone of the mini series. Now, they will actually replace the mini phone with the Plus phone. The Plus may also be discontinued. However, However, I don't know if iPhone 14 Plus will be discontinued. Okay, I would just say that the iPhone 13 SE 3rd generation, 14 and 14 Plus will not get discontinued. However, the 15 series will also be here, and these are the first phones, which are the non-Pro models, to include Dynamic Island. Now, last year we included Dynamic Island on the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max. Now, this year we're going to introduce these phones to all of the models. So eventually, I'll just say the Plus may get discontinued as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it will most likely be delayed for the Apple event in October. Now we got 2 more months until it was going to be here. So actually, I don't really think the Plus will get discontinued. The Plus may stay here. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I could be right because one, the Plus phones are actually newer, and you may have been wondering about this as well. So after the launch, the store will actually be taking down these phones. They'll be replacing it with the 15 as well. Now eventually, I don't know about this. I'm so sorry about it. Okay. I know iPhone 15 is going to be very expensive, so eventually if you want to buy that phone, it's fine. And actually, this is the last phone you'll be able to see with a notch. You know, it will be the last phone to see without a notch. Okay? Anyways, guys, I would just say that's all for now, and this is me signing off.